San Franciscans say no taxation until you fix the homeless situation. And if the pandemic had you stressing, Rogan says teach the Dems a lesson. Business owners in one San Francisco neighborhood are threatening to stop paying taxes if the city doesn't do something about its homelessness problem. 125 local businesses in the city's Castro section recently wrote a letter to city officials saying they're fed up, that it's hurt their bottom line way too much, which is what Greg told his staff when they simply asked for air conditioning and bathroom breaks. So they're done paying taxes unless their demands are met, including 35 shelter beds, monthly data on the services offered to the homeless, and a plan for what to do with people who decline help. Said one local business leader, whatever they're doing, it isn't working. Which is the same thing comedy agents have been telling Jimmy for years.
A lot of tough love. A lot of tough love for the champ today.
Speaking of what to do when things aren't working, on his podcast this week, Joe Rogan said there's only one way to hold officials accountable for their mistakes in handling the pandemic.
I hope there's lessons learned in this. No one who is alive today had ever experienced a true pandemic. And I'm hoping that now that this is over, people are going to, recognize that some serious errors were made and not repeat those. That's the best you can get out of it.
So what do you tell those people?
Vote Republican. That's what a lot of them are going to do anyway.
So he's probably right on that one, although Nancy Pelosi did some fine work during the cholera pandemic of 1822. You might not have heard about that, but we looked into it today. And after these failed lockdowns, the only thing worth repeating is third grade. For more, let's check in with Gutfeld's new political correspondents. Have you seen these guys? Mike and Jake Bananas. Fellas, what's your prediction for the midterms? Really looking forward to those guys filling in on the 5. That'll be fun. Jimmy, on the San Francisco story, a short, wise man named Greg once said, this is what happens when you get one-party towns. Without loyal opposition, you get revolt, like not paying your taxes.
Well, that's what happened, is they were rooting for their party instead of their quality of life. Like, that's what's gone on in New York. New York and San Francisco are the world's 2 biggest outdoor restrooms. That's not a good thing. But why is it there? It's been there for years now, but people wanted their party to get a win, so they didn't actually hold anyone accountable till the point now where it's actually kind of too late. Because businesses holding out isn't going to help. It's just going to pass the bill on to us with those 87,000 new IRS agents. They're not going to pay. Jimmy Fallon is going to get audited for a 4th time. Because apparently you can't write off gay magician shirts. I didn't know that was a thing. Where were you, TurboTax, when I needed you?
Is that what they call it, flushing meadows?
Yeah, maybe.
Julie, in the green room, you said, I love San Francisco and agree with the politicians in California. You care to explain?
I love this idea. I want a rebate for every homeless, stoned person in the city exhaling their secondhand smoke in my face. I could actually save a buck or two. The politicians in San Francisco, though, I think they're stoned, honestly, because the homeless situation in San Francisco, it's not just San Francisco. I mean, look at Los Angeles and look at every Democratic-led city in this entire country. If you look at it by crime, homelessness, drugs, we should be getting a discount. I want a discount. And I don't mean the 5-finger discount I used to take advantage of when I was 15. But, like some kind of rebate.
Something, or like, how about competence? That would be good nice. For your investment.
Yeah.
Jerry, so then from the business perspective, how does the scourge of homelessness affect your small business owners and these 125 businesses in Castro district?
These poor folks, I read their comments, they're taking poo off of the sidewalk in front of their building. That's from human beings, not from dogs. They're moving the homeless away from their doorstep. Look, here's what's going to happen, and we've seen it here in New York City. People get frustrated, they can't make money, they don't like their lives, they leave. They will leave the Castro district because they can't make money there. It's a simple thing. And the city fathers should do everything they can to support these small businesses, not to stand in their way.
So, Joey, what solution would you suggest to resolve the issue? Do you have one?
I think the real estate market over at Alcatraz is probably pretty big right now, right? Like, you get an island of your own, like you got spacious, there's not a lot of bums can get there. Listen, at the end of the day, you get what you ask for. You get what you vote for. You get what you've advocated for. And if you don't like it, that might be time to do some soul searching and say, okay, well, maybe this wasn't the way. I'm a big Edgar Allan Poe fan. Jimmy's more of a David Allan Coe fan. So we're calling him Little Jimmy Dickens tonight. He's got a short story or a poem talks about the pit and the pendulum, and the idea that the pendulum swings both ways. And that pendulum has been pulled so far left in places like San Francisco, it's gonna cut loose, it's gonna swing back, and people are gonna push back against it. It's just what will be left of the city by that time. What will be left of this country by the time that some of these cities figure it out? That's what, we talked on the 5 yesterday about what I call, or we talked on your show this morning actually, about what I call the quiet crime crisis of cities that aren't named San Francisco, Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York. These problems are happening everywhere. Not every city out there has the opportunity to get the attention that these do. And so San Francisco, for now, is taking up space on the headlines because it used to be a beautiful city, and now it's a beautiful mess.
Denver's another one that I'm familiar with. Jimmy, do you think that Rogan is right, that people will think about not just crime, but also just what happened in the last 2 years with the lockdowns, that they'll want to vote Republican in November?
I think a lot of people are, because I don't think the Democrats have read the room on how much COVID frustration there is. People are sick of it. They hated the lockdowns. They hated the hypocrisy. I mean, think San Francisco is one of the epicenters for COVID hypocrisy. If you remember, when their mayor implemented a lockdown, she got caught at a nightclub the next day and said she was feeling the spirit, so she didn't have to wear a mask or be locked down. Now, I know COVID's a sophisticated virus when they made it in the lab, but I don't know if there was a music exemption. I don't know. It's really weird. I haven't been to Beijing in a while, but I don't remember the disco scene as being very big over there. You know what I mean? But I don't appreciate all the cheap shots at Jimmy, Johnny, Joey. There's a lot of cheap shots. If we're going to get into a dissing contest, you don't have a leg to stand on.
I don't know if that's allowed.
No, we're best pals. Stop it.
I didn't know you hated the military.
There you go. You knew Joey would have the last word.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.